Okay, hi everyone. This is Rob Bell, and this is Getting the Record Straight. I'm here with Earl Harvey, entrepreneur and business leader here in Philadelphia. Let me apologize. I'm kind of using some different, but not technical, difficult technology, but being technically challenged as I am, I had some problems for the opening here. So let me introduce Earl again. He's the CEO of the Earl Harvey Media Group. It's a multimedia communications firm that promotes diversity in media, entertainment, and marketing. He founded the Black Professionals newspaper, which we were talking about, in 2001 to provide marketing and advertising assistance for small businesses and community-based organizations. Published the Atlantic City Times in 2014. Produces events for the Black Professionals Network, including the Minority Enterprise Development Week, Women's Week, and the annual Black Professionals Holiday Gala, which I try not to miss. He's a native Philadelphian, graduate of Central High and Temple University. So again, my apologies. Welcome again, Earl. And you were giving us some great information earlier, but like I said, I probably cut off that introduction, so I wanted to do that again. Were you finished talking about your dad in the other segment?
Yeah. My dad, ironically, I published the Black Professionals News. So I happened to be raised in a household with an African American who was the first Black professional in Philadelphia. So here I am, 20, 30 something years later, publishing a newspaper,
Sure.
For Black professionals. But, we are products of our environment. And I had the opportunity to be raised in a corporate household, and I had access to like an incredible array of professionals in this country. I mean, people who were just total, like leaders, and people who wrote books, and people who started organizations. I mean, this was a dynamic group, of African Americans, So I'm sure a lot of that rubbed off on me. So I'm used to that environment. And I didn't even realize when I started my paper that I was making that association. But in retrospect, it was a natural extension of my childhood. So
well, look, we were talking about new initiative or meetings and organization building that you were doing. So why don't you talk about that, this new initiative or organizing project that you've been involved with?
Absolutely. Because my newspaper is the only business publication in Philadelphia, I've had the opportunity to work with so many different business leaders and professionals in the community over these last 20 years. So I'm very well plugged into the infrastructure of the Black business community and the community at large. They're the readers of my paper, they're my advertisers. We do collaborative events together. So I'm squarely in that network. So, over the years, I have realized that there is so much information and resources that are in our community that are just not totally being utilized by the community at large. And of course, I try to use my newspaper to facilitate that. But, there's more work that can be done in that regard. And I'm surrounded by some of the top leaders in Philadelphia. And the key is, how can we collaborate more to uplift the entire community? That's always the challenge, because everybody's kind of working in silos and doing their own thing. But we're faced right now with a very particular set of circumstances with this COVID-19 situation. This is something that no one could have foreseen. And it's put us in a very precarious situation, our business community in particular, because they're predicting that 50% of Black-owned businesses might not survive this COVID shutdown. And, the last time we had something of this magnitude was during the recession that President Obama had to bring us out of. And during that period, coming out of that recession, we lost 50% of Black-owned businesses at that time. And, you know, I was kind of looking at the situation we were in now saying, boy, this is what is a deja vu all over again. I said, here we go again. And I realized that in order for us to survive coming out of this COVID situation, we would have to come together to survive. I didn't see our community coming out of this, you know, without aggregating the resources and putting support systems in place for us to first physically survive. I mean, staying alive in this thing is even more of a challenge. But knowing that our business community was going to be adversely affected, I took a leadership position and contacted, you know, some of my other, contemporaries in leadership positions in the business community and said, look, you know, I think we should get together and put together a coalition to really put together some type of strategic plan so that coming out of this COVID situation, you know, we'll all be on the same page and not be a repeat of the recession that we came out of, where we didn't have a plan. And consequently, we lost 50% of our businesses. So I organized a leadership group called the Black Business Leadership Coalition. And we started meeting in March. And we started taking an assessment of the business community at that time, reading all the anecdotal evidence that was available. And, you know, not having tea leaves, you know, we did try to look into the future. And we knew coming out of COVID, we were going to be in a pretty bad state. And we didn't want our business owners to be scrambling around for information and resources trying to find them, because just being in business is difficult enough, okay? Mm-hmm. Not having an infrastructure makes it more difficult. So for the last 10 weeks, we've been meeting and working on developing a strategic plan and putting together a resource guide and a website so that when we come out of this COVID situation and the city goes green and restaurants are open and our businesses are fully reopened, we'll have information and resources available for our business community that'll be right at their fingertips. You know, where to get funding for my business, okay? Where to get classes for my business. If I have to take courses like on marketing or bookkeeping or website technology, you know, all these resources are out here. They just haven't been aggregated in one place. Mm-hmm. So that's what we're in the process of doing now. We plan on releasing our resource guide within the next week or so. Mm-hmm. Hopefully by the end of July, the guide will be done, the website will be done. And by that time, hopefully the city will be totally reopened. Our restaurants will be open. People can go in and eat. And we'll be able to really put our business owners in a much better position than they would have come out if we hadn't done anything.
How do people tie in with, you know, connect with that group? And what's the title of it again, the name of it?
Sure, the Black Business Leadership Coalition.
Black Business, and how do you reach them?
Mm-hmm. Well, right now, we are just a group of representatives from different organizations. So we have the African American Chamber involved in our group. Mm-hmm. We have the Philadelphia Industrial Development Corporation, PIDC. We have the Business Center at New Covenant, and we have Beach Corporation, WPSFI, Financial Institution, the Enterprise Center. So there's about 13 service providers, all under the umbrella of the coalition. Our website is commerceuniversity.net.
Commerceuniversity.net.
Commerceuniversity.net. That will be where we have all of our online tools and resource guides for people to check out. You know, anytime they want to. We'll have classes and courses on there, and we'll have documents on there. I mean, it's just going to be full of information that people can just point and click and try to work their way through this environment that we're in. And
people could touch base with you also to get.
Yeah, of course, yeah. My organization, Black Professionals News, my newspaper, is the lead sponsor on this project. So people can absolutely reach me at area code 267-244-3860, 267-244-3860, and via email, Earl, EARL, at earlharvey.com.
Earl,
EARLHARVEY.com. Earl at earlharvey.com. And we'll be happy to get our resource guide to you. get support information to you. We don't want our businesses suffering, man. They're suffering enough. And when you put the COVID shutdown on top of the civic unrest we had in our community, where so many Black-owned businesses were indeed damaged during the so-called rioting and looting that happened in our community. And that just added insult to injury. I mean, for those businesses that were already on the edge, on the verge behind the COVID situation, many of them just lost everything that they had after people broke in and looted their places, man. So, you know, we have a lot of challenges going on, but one thing we have shown over the years, Black people are resilient, okay? We find a way to overcome, we find a way to come back, okay? And we keep it moving. So hopefully with the assistance of this coalition, we'll make that transition a little easier for our Black-owned businesses.
Well, we've got a couple of minutes left. I was looking at some statistics and, you know, they vary from anywhere from just a few percent to 25% in terms of Black-owned companies in the region. You got a lot of companies that are, you know, kind of sole proprietorships. Right. It's one person, maybe two. You know, what do you think needs to be done in the next, whenever, a couple of years to, you know, begin to see that that move up, you know? Because I was just trying to think, really, what are some of the Black businesses that really employ the most people? I know there's some of the franchises and what have you, but I'm just wondering what kinds of things we could put in place to really begin to turn that, you know, start to move up in that sense.
Sure. Well, you know, there are a couple of different dynamics working. As you said earlier, you know, a lot of our Black-owned businesses are people who are basically self-employed. Okay, a lot of them work from home. Maybe someone that does taxes in their home, or someone that sells insurance. You know, and maybe these are home-based businesses, or they may have an external office with a separate entrance, you know, in their residence. So we don't typically think of them as a retail type business, like a restaurant or cleaners, you know, or an exterminating. But people are coming in and doing business over the counter. So Philadelphia does have a disproportionate amount of people who are self-employed. That being said, we have all ranges of businesses in our community. And, you know, we have a tendency to, in our community, somebody that has a side hustle or is a vendor, you know, who does something on the weekend on the side or has a hobby where they're making money. To us, that's a business, okay? But to the, you know, the folks in different commerce departments downtown, they may not be considered a legitimate business. Okay, people that do multi-level marketing, they're home-based businesses. Okay, there's thousands of people doing that. So we have a different criteria in our community on what we consider a business or not a business. So that's number one. As far as pushing the needle is concerned, how do we get our businesses to scale? You know, how do we get them to the point that they can employ more people than themselves, because the average business employs one person or 1.5 people.
We only got a minute left here.
Yeah, how can we get them to scale? So, you know, one of the biggest ways that can happen is if we get the city, the state, the federal government, and the corporations to increase their supply diversity. Okay, right. Purchase more goods and services from Black-owned businesses. You know, stop letting us have to meet these requirements of being minority certified or minority owned. They have to go through all these qualifications when they know that we're a Black-owned business. Okay, quit putting up the barriers of impediment to keep us out of corporate America and out of the business cycle, and find more ways to bring us in. Okay, so that would be my biggest suggestion, to just get people more involved in supporting Black-owned businesses, and that way we can start growing the scale.
Hey, look, man, I really want to thank you for spending some time. I really appreciate it. And let me apologize again. You're my maiden voyage, if you will, on doing the Zoom video, but I think it'll work out. And thanks for what you're doing for the community, man. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, Rob. Continued success with your media company. I look forward to viewing all your pre-recorded videos.
All right, man. Thanks. Take care.
Peace.
All right.